just this kind of harsh punishment on yourself, trying to reach a healthier you, doesn't really work. Because when you start honoring your body and then you're wanting to put in healthy things, you're wanting to change how you're eating because you are feeling better, that's when the weight loss happens.
If someone was to come to you and say, what should my health goal be? Just like general blanket, like what would be a great goal for someone that doesn't have a goal yet?
Wow.
And wants to make a goal?
Yeah.
In this episode of the Lifestyle-Based Healing Podcast, we're publishing this on the very first full week of the new year. And with the new year comes the new year, new me phenomenon where people set New Year's resolutions and they pack the yoga studios, they pack the gyms. And yet by the end of January, sometimes as often as that, all those people are gone. They don't make the distance. And that's a really sad thing. And my guess is your heart's in the right place, but your goals are not. So many times people don't set their goals and their New Year's resolutions properly, and that basically sets them up for failure. And so in this one, we want to talk about where people go wrong with their resolutions, as well as how to actually properly set goals to actually have real success and lasting change with your health. Jump in, this is a good one. Hello and welcome to the Lifestyle-Based Healing Podcast. I'm your co-host, Dylan, and I'm alongside my mom and other co-host and dietitian, multi-talented mom, Robin.
Hi, everyone.
And today's episode is actually something that is super timely. It's about New Year's resolutions.
Yes.
What do we think about them? Do they actually help people? Why do people go through this rigmarole of setting a New Year's resolution every year? Let's dive into it.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everybody. And look at us. We've switched it up. We're on different sides of the table, right?
New year, new me.
Yeah. Do you make resolutions, Dylan?
I do not. No. I can't remember the last time I actually made a serious resolution. I kind of just, whenever I feel a change is needed, that's when I make the change. And of course, I have to be like somewhat ready to do it. So yeah, that's what I'd say about them.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think this is a really great topic because a lot of people are really into resolutions. I mean, I've had people ask me, what are your new resolutions for the year? And I kind of fall into that category too. It's like, when I'm ready to make a change, I do. And I whether it be personally, business-wise, whatever, right? And there's always a lot of ways to make changes.
There's nothing quite like the now.
There's absolutely, the now is pretty.
In fact, we had a client sign up, and I was, in their consultation. They were like, well, when do we start? And I said, we just started right now. And they're like, oh, like, I think people are used to waiting until Monday, or waiting to the new year, or waiting to a perfect time for something to start. And really, there's no perfect time other than right now, or actually 20 years ago.
Well, for a lot of health issues, that is true. Okay.
That's a famous Chinese proverb,
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay.
The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today.
Yeah. Makes complete sense.
So sorry, I derailed you, but
yeah, no, it makes complete sense. But it is true, and so I think you have to kind of look at who you are as a person, right? But I think there is some value to starting of the new year. It's exciting. You have a whole year of potential ahead of you. There's just something about that change of numbers on that new year, and so I think that. What I see most often with people and what we do, Dylan, is...
And I'm guessing you guys know this story too, either personally or you've just seen it happen. I've been there too.
Yeah. The new year happens. You are like, okay, I just came through the holidays. You're feeling sluggish. You might have put on that, extra weight. And the most common resolutions are around diet and fitness. And so people in the gym industry know they're going to be flooded with gym memberships with good intentions. And I was at a yoga session yesterday, January 2nd, right? And it was packed. I'm like, where'd all these people come from, right? And the regulars kind of know, they kind of just hang in there and it'll thin out. But what I caught myself thinking about when I was sitting there on my mat I really wanted to embrace those people that are making that fresh start for themselves, and how do we help them stay committed to themselves, right? Because they clearly want to make a change and they want something different for themselves. And so that's where my mind goes of what is that about and how do we support that person. And I think, they clearly wanted to be, do something, whether it was more calmness or fitness or, less stress, whatever it was, that's why they were there. And so I think that's where people really starting and going, well, what do I want to change? But more importantly, I think you look back at the previous year and go, what actually worked for me and what do I want to keep and what do I want to throw away?
Yeah, so I guess that's more of a mindset that you'd be more promoting, right? What's the negative side of the New Year's resolution mindset?
Yeah.
What is the negative side?
The negative side is that we enter into it from dissatisfaction of sort of like a negative based hating on myself, for lack of a better word, because if it's around weight or not being fit, that's coming from a very negative space, right? Like, I'm not enough, I'm not doing it well enough, whatever. And I think we need to reframe that and look at, well, what do I want for my health? Okay, is it, so often it's a lower number on the scale. And as you know, what we do, we really focus on health versus, the number on the scale. And so could it be like, well, can we focus on just bringing you to feel lighter and have more energy and be sleeping better, those sort of outcomes, rather than almost this very negative look at. Does that make sense?
Yeah, to me it sounds like, well, there's maybe a couple things there, but one thing that jumps out immediately is the way people set the goals.
Right.
Is flawed, malformed, maybe too surface level.
Not very supportive. It's very, yeah, I would agree with that.
Meaning, like, they might set a weight goal or something. Is that where you're going? Like, because one of the things you said there was it's like you'd rather them focus on the health component rather than something else. So what are they focused on? They're
focused on looking different, being a lighter weight. Okay, if we use weight as an example.
Yeah.
Right. And that's not a bad outcome if that's what they eventually want to get to.
So if I came to you and I said, my New Year's resolution is to lose, I don't know, 15 pounds the next 3 months. Or over this year, I want to reach this certain weight. What do you tell that person? How do you help them shift their mindset?
Well, it doesn't happen in just one conversation.
Sure. Yeah.
First of all, okay, it's like, okay, I hear what you're saying, and I understand that as being a goal, but let's dive in a little deeper. It's like, how are you sleeping, and what are you currently doing? And
because usually it's not necessarily about the weight. It's like you say, how they want to look, how they want to feel. They actually want transformation of their life, and they're focused on what they understand, maybe,
right,
which is weight, and that's what everyone tells them to do, right? Your doctor says lose weight,
right,
if you want to improve your health. Everything in the media talks about weight and calories, all that stuff. And so when people are forming these New Year's resolutions, maybe they're choosing the wrong objective or metric for that.
Yes.
Is that what you're getting at?
Yes, I would agree with that.
Okay.
And I think that, and I think it's what we've learned, and it's what's kind of out there. And I'm asking you to think out of the box a little bit, and let's change the goal. I mean, maybe the goal is, and I think what happens so often is you go all in and you change everything at once. So it's like, we're going to start exercising and we're going to go on this calorie cutting diet, and we're going to, stop all the negative stuff that we portray as being negative, and we throw everything out and try to change everything at once, and that's hard. That's really hard. No wonder 3/4 of the people drop their New Year's resolutions by the end of January.
Yeah.
And so, what I like to do with people I work with is say, can we just choose one thing to change? Let's look at what are you doing right now?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I skip breakfast and I don't eat till noon. It's like, well, can we change just adding breakfast in? Let's choose a healthy breakfast, and let's do that for a week or 2 weeks and see if that helps your energy. Okay, and to see how it goes, and so it's like, shouldn't I be counting calories? Shouldn't I be eating less? Shouldn't I be all these things? And it's like, not necessarily. Okay, and so we shift the focus, and you can't be, just this kind of harsh punishment on yourself trying to reach a healthier you doesn't really work. It really comes from this idea of, I believe, and what I've seen is, loving yourself where you are, okay, and appreciating what your body does. It might not look how you want it yet, but it still is carrying you through the day and doing a lot of phenomenal stuff, and that's the mindset shift. I think really helps people, because when you start honoring your body and then you're wanting to put in healthy things, you're wanting to change how you're eating because you are feeling better, that's when the weight loss happens.
I'd say that definitely makes sense. Like, if you're not where you want to be, then something about the way you're approaching things or you're thinking about things is wrong.
Or it's not helpful,
Or not helpful, but exactly, it's wrong. For trying to be the person, because you have to change who you are to become the person that's able to do it. Which is kind of also described as a mindset shift. So it sounds like we're coming up with this do's and don'ts list for New Year's resolutions.
I suppose, and it turned more into weight loss, and I didn't really want that. I wanted to be more about goal setting and really being about how, are you setting them? Are you not setting them? And if you're not, why? Look at that for yourself. And, or if you are setting them, are you making them reachable so you will have success? Okay. And I think, like I said, you and I both, we set goals for ourselves all the time. It doesn't have to be just done in January.
So if we were to break it down in do's and don'ts, first of all, should you set a New Year's resolution? Well, depends, right? Depends.
What sort of person are you? Do you work well with setting a goal? Do you, does that motivate you, or is it demotivating?
Right.
Are you that person that says, oh, New Year's is coming, I'm going to set a resolution so I can just blow everything up all through the holidays, so you kind of treat yourself poorly and eat poorly and do kind of go off the rails, so to speak, because you're going to start new, and then at the end of the month you've already dropped them, and now you're further in the hole. Does that make sense?
Right. Or are you someone that needs that constant reinforcement that you're going in the right direction? Like, I don't want to bring up weight again, but a lot of people have this problem where if they see the weight scale go anything but down, even if it just stays at the same number for more than a few days, then they freak out, right?
Yes.
So in that case, it's not helpful, right? Because you can only really lose in that situation. You can't really win. Because you can't control every single moment, right?
And there's so much goes into that number on the scale, right? And so I'm not a big fan of the scale, as you know, but I think that that's why I think if you bring in these other parameters of measuring your goal, it's really helpful, because it's really understand for yourself. I think sitting with yourself and going, well, what do I really? How do I want to feel? Okay, there's one thing about how you want to look, that's part of it too, but how do I want to feel? And so often what we hear when people end up in front of us is they're tired of dieting, they're tired of being restrictive. Again, it's going back to this weight idea, but what they're really tired of is feeling sick and tired all the time and not having their best life. And so I think that when we can start helping them see why that's happening, and giving them small, doable steps to start making those changes, that's when they start having success. And I think what happens for a lot of people is they set these goals and they don't get any support. They don't find someone to help them. They don't find a community of like-minded people. And if you're trying to get out of your habits of what you're doing, it's really useful and helpful to find a group of people that are on that same path, okay, and are because it does get hard, and this that can support you and can reinforce you and share stuff with you. Oh, I tried this and it worked, and I tried that, and just realize it's not a straight line. It's absolutely not a straight line. It's going to be like this as you're trying to get healthy.
Yeah. Do you think people make that mistake all the time where they think it's going to be easier than it actually is?
I do.
Yeah.
I think, and let me give you an example. My husband has a friend that came by recently, and he like pats his belly and like, oh, I got to lose a little weight, and he's now in his 70s, and he goes, but it's been really hard because I've been cutting back. He's been doing what he's always done to lose weight in the past. So like just say he really likes chocolate chip cookies, so he says no to the 5 cookies and maybe eats 1 or avoids them altogether, and it's not working for him. And he's pretty frustrated by that. What he doesn't realize is that what used to work for him isn't working anymore for a couple of reasons. One, it's likely because he's not moving as much as he used to. Okay, he used to be way more active doing the activities he used to do. He thinks he's still doing them, but at the same intensity, but he's just not. Okay, definitely moving less. He definitely is, has added other foods into his diet that he thinks he doesn't ever think about that's adding the weight to him. He just thinks it's the sweets.
Yeah.
Okay, he just thinks it's the sweets. So he cuts those out, but he hasn't cut down enough, or more importantly, he's not even cutting down, added in some of the things back in that are going to help him succeed. And so it's not always about taking out, it's like adding back in, all right, things. And so what I see people do often is they eat less and less and less, when in fact they should be just changing what they're eating to have success. And so, I think people fall into that category a lot. They're trying to do what they used to do, and it doesn't work, and they get frustrated.
Yeah. So let's recap the do's and don'ts that I kind of wrote down, and maybe this will jog some more ideas. Do use the motivation boost that comes with kind of the refreshing of the calendar. Do have compassion for yourself. Do small and doable goals. Don't do all at once.
Don't do all at once.
I think that's that really echoes with me, because when I set a goal, I'm usually focused less on the outcome. Obviously, the outcome informs the goal, but the goal is really more to do certain activities. And I just try to make sure to do all those activities in a routine regularly, and then because you'll build towards the goal by doing that. And those are things you can actually control, is whether or not I do or don't do something.
Right.
It's a lot more under your control, at least. Do set good goals. I guess that means like either using the SMART framework or something like that. Bring in other parameters. So don't just make it about one thing. There should be other measures too, especially when it comes to health. Right.
Especially when it comes out. And I think with health, people think if they just do the one thing.
Yeah.
And sadly, it's a multiple. It's, you have multiple components that go into your health, right? Yeah.
It's very multifaceted. Yeah. It's not, again, not a straight line sort of thing. Do make it about how you want to feel, or at least include that in some of your goals and forecasting for yourself. Do get support. Do not do it solo. That was a big one.
That's a huge one.
And then I kind of use that your final example. Do plan for it to be harder, and for your current spot in life, for your current situation. I think that kind of also wraps up into it, because if you plan for it to be harder, then you're going to set smaller incremental goals, because you're assuming that the big goal is going to be really hard to achieve. So it kind of forces you to think into smaller increments, maybe.
Yes, and I think plan on it taking longer.
Harder and longer.
Yeah, I mean, it just takes long. And this is, I think, what's so interesting when people show up in front of us is that, they want instant results, but it's taken them years to get where they are. Okay, years to get put on medications, years to get on the extra weight, years to
right.
And yet it's just like when you say, well, can you set aside 6 months of your life to really focus on this? They're just like, wow, 6 months. And we live in kind of a society like that. Yeah. We want instant results, and look at the weight loss drugs, look at some of those things, right? And so I understand, wouldn't that be nice? But it does typically take a little longer than people think. So, and I think the other thing is people underestimate water. Drink more water, okay? I mean, this is a weird random one, but I just think that, there's so many things that we don't hydrate our bodies enough, and that really helps. And I think I can't put enough emphasis on those small goals. And maybe it's not even what you're going to start doing. It's look at what you've started doing that might be contributing. So, for example, years ago, I got turned on to drinking, this is like a lot of years ago, mochas, okay? And I love these things. I was drinking like, I thought I was having them occasionally. But then I realized I went to the dentist and I had a cavity, and my husband's a dentist, and I went home like, I can't believe I have a cavity. How can I have a cavity? And he says, those mochas that you're drinking. I go, I don't drink them that often. When I started counting them up, I was drinking them a little bit. And when you drink them, you're not rinsing. I wasn't brushing my teeth afterwards, so that's sugar sitting on my teeth. And then I kind of looked at it and I was like, oh yeah, I have put on a couple pounds too. So it wasn't what it was one thing I had added in that I thought was really benign, no problem, that was starting to cause some of these problems. And so maybe you don't have to do anything else besides look at some of the stuff you're doing and then change that up. Okay, I think that's something that, but it's taking a hard look and looking at some of those habits that you might need to change up.
This is kind of a out of left field question, but if someone was to come to you and say, what should my health goal be? Just like general blanket, like what would be a great goal for someone that doesn't have a goal yet?
Wow.
And wants to make a goal?
Yeah. So I would encourage people to do, if there's only one goal, I would say eat more vegetables, okay? I'm sorry, I am who I am, okay? Eat more vegetables, especially the leafy greens.
90% of Americans don't get enough fiber, so that's a pretty good goal, right?
Yeah, I can't help myself, right? I think that's a really good goal from a health perspective.
Yeah, I might even add more form to that and say, try to eat a serving of vegetables at every meal.
Yes.
That would be a really good goal.
A really good goal, yeah.
That would help basically anyone.
Yeah, and I think what people, they really lean into exercise more, and I think exercise is great. Walking every day is great, but depending on what your ultimate goal is, you get more bang for your effort, Nutritionally, yeah, absolutely. And again, you just anything that comes from the produce aisle is fabulous, or the bean aisle. Okay.
Yeah. Cooked, raw, doesn't matter.
Frozen, I'll take. Yeah, I mean, just recently I was out of town and I had a bag of frozen vegetables and I put them in the microwave to go along with my husband's like, you always seem to get those greens in there, don't you? It can be as simple as that. So, yeah.
Cool. Is that everything you want to cover?
I think that's it. I think, if you're not happy where you are, you don't have to wait till the new year, but it's a great start. And choose something small, choose something doable, and just be consistent with it, and then add on to that. I think is really the trick. Because it feels good to accomplish something. It really does. Yeah. And work toward a goal that you're working toward. Yeah.
Let's create some sort of like quick resource people can download.
Okay.
To help them set New Year's resolutions. I
think that's great. Okay, I will do that for you.
Well, I'll help too. But we'll make it available, the link in the description by the time this episode publishes. If you like this content, make sure to like and subscribe. That way you keep getting these videos, and also other people that need to see this content are also suggested it in YouTube and wherever else you're seeing this. If you want further resources, you can go to our website, therevitalizecenter.com. That's where we have all sorts of workshops or even free stuff like newsletters that you can join. Otherwise, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.